a very wealthy and experienced merchant, carrying 4 heavy bags full of jewels and precious pearls tied around his waist, was riding a magnificent horse on a trading journey. His destination was a distant city's market, where he intended to sell these pearls and buy goods for trade. The pearls and jewels were extremely valuable, and their shine and brilliance often brought him joy, as they were the reason he was regarded as a successful merchant. However, fate had something else in store. During his journey, he suddenly lost his way and found himself in the vast desert. He had an abundance of wealth, but there was almost no food or water. He had a small bottle of water with only a little left. As soon as he entered the scorching desert, his thirst became unbearable, and he drank the last drop of water. Traveling on the hot sand was too much for his horse, and soon, exhausted and parched, he fell on the desert sand and began to struggle. The merchant left his horse behind and set off on foot with his bags. The burning sun and hot sand scorched his feet, but his will to survive kept him going. As he walked, he suddenly saw a large thorny bush, behind which there was a shadow like an oasis in the desert. He reached the bush and sat in its shade, taking a moment of relief. He opened the bags of valuable pearls, took the shimmering jewels in his hands, and gazed at them. These were the same pearls that always made him feel proud and happy, but today their brilliance seemed to fade. The pearls felt like useless stones. He wished that these sparkling pearls could somehow turn into wheat grains, so that he could eat and satisfy his hunger. He had immense wealth, but it was useless in the face of hunger and thirst. The sun was setting, and the heat from the day slowly began to cool down. But the merchant was still weak and despairing. The wealth was still with him, but the essential needs of life, water and food, were far out of reach. Exhausted from thirst, he began to dig around the bush. Suddenly, he felt soft, damp sand beneath him. The slight moisture and softness of the sand brought him some happiness. He quickly began digging, hoping to find something that could quench his thirst. However, the roots had almost no moisture, but it was still something. While his thirst was somewhat relieved, hunger began to worsen. His body grew weaker, and when night fell, and the first rays of the sun appeared, the merchant decided he had to end this desert ordeal before the sun reached its peak. However, as he ventured deeper into the desert, he realized the desert seemed endless. It was a vast plain with no sign of life in sight. The heat began to intensify again, and the sand began to burn. Thirst and hunger began to take a toll on him. The bags of jewels that had once been a symbol of pride were now a burden. He took out each bag and looked at the precious jewels, but now they held no value. In desperation to lighten his load, he threw the largest bag into the sand. His heart felt a momentary pain, but his mind told him that pearls cannot quench thirst or satisfy hunger.